Cashing in my pockets so my pennies should be. What they selling is cheap, so I'm buying that this freedom is free. I've been becoming me. See when Jesus taking the lead. With purpose I bleed and rise like going under the heat. Defeat is a never. You can't reattach with a sever. What's bringing you pleasure can tell you where you stacking your treasure. When storm is your weather, know that it gets worse for it's better.
Welcome to the Esau McCaulley Podcast. This podcast, I am drunk with power because normally I have to do what Phil and Skye and Kaitlyn tell me, but now I'm not on the Holy Post. They're on my show. So it's going to be some new rules. So I'm just kidding. Instead of that, we're going to have our first annual Holy Post Thanksgiving draft. What we're going to do is we're going to have a round robin draft where everyone who's on the call, and that would be Skye and Kaitlyn, we're going to each pick one meat, 2 sides, and 2 desserts. And once your item has been picked, it is off the board. And you can draft in any order you want. So if you want to go with the sides first, or there's some strategy involved. And I think that Mike, who our producer, has said that he's going to judge variations. What are you saying there, Mike?
Yeah, so I said variations additions will be at my discretion on if they are allowed or not.
Okay. So 1 meat, 2 sides, 2 desserts, and once something's been chosen, it is off the table.
Okay, I have another question.
Yes.
If somebody picks a dish that is not a traditional Thanksgiving dish, is that
That's a good question.
allowable or is it eliminated?
Yes. So after this, we're going to have a vote. The people will decide. So this is not you stuck in like what Big Thanksgiving has to say about what the sides are. I'm telling you right now, I'm going to do my own thing. So you don't have to have all traditional Thanksgiving things. Okay. So yes, you're free to innovate. But Skye, I'm pretty confident that my innovations are going to be yours. I just feel really good about this. And I feel like this is I feel like I should just like implement. I need to have something that makes me feel more in charge. But that's okay. I'm going to just, at this point, concede the draft because it's not just about me. It's about spreading Thanksgiving cheer to the people.
I think we're going to discover some cultural differences here in what's on the table.
Yeah? We should probably add a drink because I would say sweet tea, but we didn't think about that.
I don't think drinks could take us into a whole cul-de-sac of craziness. I don't know if that's a good idea.
Yeah. Okay. So what's the order of the draft, Mike? I don't know if you set it up.
The order is Skye, Kaitlyn, Esau, and then it's a snake draft. So then second round will be Esau, Kaitlyn, Skye.
Okay.
We'll just keep
so
going.
I will go third and then first.
Right.
Technically fourth, but yeah.
Yes, I will go third. I will go 2 times in a row.
Yeah.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
Are we ready? Skye, are you ready?
I'm ready. Okay. So for my first pick, I have to go with some. I'm thinking of something you only eat on Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And I have to go. My wife makes the best cornbread stuffing.
No.
Oh,
That's the best first pick.
It
That's
is
the best
amazing.
first pick. That's the best first pick.
Okay,
All right.
that's a solid.
If that's all we had for Thanksgiving and all we had for leftovers, I would be a happy man.
Okay, then we'll take that. That's a solid first pick.
That's a solid first pick.
That's like drafting an offensive tackle like in the first round. You know they're going to start for 10 years. You don't got to worry about it. Okay. Kaitlyn.
Okay, I was thinking we were going to go in order, so I'm glad to know we're not going in like meat sides. So I'll start with pecan pie.
Ooh. Oh, look at that. I feel very confident right now because I'm about to end this like competition in the next 2 rounds. Decent call on pecan pie. But
I don't do nut pies. I don't know.
Oh, Skye.
Yeah, I mean,
you're missing out.
I mean, pecan pie is fine, but I feel like I can go crazy. I'm going to end this early with baked mac and cheese as my first one.
That's a good one.
And then my second one, I'm going because I get to draft at the top of the next round, right? My next one is going to be instead of big turkey ruling Thanksgiving, I'm going to go with brisket.
Oh.
So we're starting off with brisket and baked mac and cheese, the competition is over.
That's a pretty good combo. That's a good combo.
Okay, but what you're describing though is not Thanksgiving. What you're describing is a summer barbecue.
No, I'm not. Wait, first of all, hold on. I'm not, because Thanksgiving is macaroni and cheese. It's a traditional Thanksgiving dish.
Yeah.
I baked it because that's what Black people do.
Right. Okay.
And we know how I didn't put green beans or peas in it. It's good old fashioned Southern baked mac and cheese, which is traditional. And I'm freeing myself from the tyranny of turkey, and I'm just replacing the turkey with the brisket. If it was a turkey and mac and cheese, you wouldn't complain. So I'm just taking out big turkey and putting it in a brisket. So I'm still in there.
I'm not saying your picks are bad. I would pull up to that table in a heartbeat.
Yes.
But, okay. Kaitlyn?
Let the people decide.
We will.
Yeah.
We will.
Yeah.
So is it
Kaitlyn's up next.
Yeah. My second pick, I'm going back and forth on what I want to do next, but I think I'll do sweet potato casserole next.
Ooh.
I love some sweet potato casserole.
Okay.
And I like the crunchy topping more than the marshmallow.
Oh, no. I was going to ask if we could have a variation, and I was hoping you would go with marshmallow, and I was going to come in and steal your thunder.
No.
With the crunchy one. Oh man.
No, the crunchy topping is so much better.
That's a solid victory. Oh,
Thank
now if it wasn't for the pecan pie, I'd be nervous about that. That was a solid pick. Okay.
All right. I'm surprised that this is still on the table, but I'm picking pumpkin pie. I mean, I have to. Pumpkin pie is again, it's one of those Thanksgiving must-haves, and I love all things pumpkin except the pumpkin chai from Starbucks, which was horrible.
Yeah.
How can you not love pumpkin pie? I don't know how you guys like it. I like mine cold. Do you like it cold, or do you like it warmed up?
Oh yeah, cold. No, cold.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So I have a couple of clarification questions. Skye, what was the first one? Your first pick was casseroles.
No.
Does that basically eliminate all the kinds of stuffing, like dressings and the various?
Yeah,
I feel
like
that.
so.
Okay then. Mm-hmm. Okay then. Do I have two picks again?
Actually, Skye.
Oh, I get two.
Has another pick, and then Kaitlyn has a pick. Esau.
Okay.
Still got a while.
Okay.
I agree with you, Esau. I'm not a big turkey guy, although given my Indian background, I would love to do like tandoori turkey, which would be a whole different deal. But I'm not going to pick turkey. My in-laws Thanksgivings, they always have London broil, which is super good. It's a little bit like brisket. It is beef, but it's London broil, really juicy. I'll pick that every day over turkey. So that's my meat.
Okay then.
Okay. It's hard to know what is going to get chosen, but I'll say, you know what? I wasn't going to do this. I'll go for turkey because I know that it's much maligned at this point, but it is a Thanksgiving classic, and I only really want it on Thanksgiving. So it's nostalgic, it's important, it's a cultural staple. I'll go turkey.
Yeah. So is it now? Do I get a pick now? Do I get just one or two? Two. So Kaitlyn, I didn't want to do this to you because I felt like the last time we had the competition, I kind of came in at the end and just kind of like took you out. And I had a backup plan, and I wanted to allow sweet potato casserole to be my meal. And I wanted sweet potato casserole to have its moment even as yours. But I got to steal that thunder, and I'm going to go with candied yams.
Oh,
so
okay.
I just took all of like sweet potato hive, and now they're over on the. Do you not know what candy yams are, Skye?
I don't think I've had candy yams. I've heard of candy yams.
Oh my goodness, that's the saddest thing. I mean, it's a classic. Like if you're in a real like Southern Black space, you might get candy yams and sweet potato casserole in the same space.
What's the difference?
I mean, sweet potato casserole is if it's like into a puree, almost like not mashed potatoes, but like a puree, and then you have the nuts and stuff on top. Yeah, and then the candy yams is basically a yam, which is kind of like a sweet potato, just buried in syrup and like and sugar. It's like a walking heart attack, but it's glorious and it's delicious. I'm going to candy yams as my. So that means I'm out of sides.
Yeah, you were out of sides, so you need 2 desserts.
Oh man,
You can
I
pick
would
one
say
right
to the
now.
people. I would say to the people. Oh, I can't say. I can't. Oh, I need 2 desserts. This is a McCaulley family tradition that may not exist anywhere else. And so I'm just going to say it because I get it every year. It's the one thing that I get every year on Thanksgiving and Christmas because it's what we ate in my family's house. German chocolate cake.
German
Oh,
chocolate
yeah.
cake. All right.
Yeah.
Yeah. And my last one's going to be a dub too. So I do feel really confident in my picks.
Okay.
I'm out of picks right now though. I got to wait. Right?
Yeah. It's
Yeah.
Kaitlyn's turn.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. So I have a meat and one side and one dessert, right?
No,
Yes.
you chose. Oh yeah, you have a meat already.
Yeah. Okay. I'll say my other dessert, apple pie.
Oh no. I was going to get apple pie.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
I should get apple pie because no one's going to pick German chocolate cake, but I couldn't resist the sentimental pull. Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
That's
Gotta
bad
get rid of
draft
those
strategy,
feelings,
Esau.
Esau. Rationality
Yeah, it was. I
over
was like,
emotion.
I just thought the apple pie would be safe. I thought y'all go into sweet potato. Oh man. That hurts. Oh man.
All right,
This is going to be
Skye.
closer. Sorry.
I get 2 picks now, right?
You get 2 picks. Uh-huh.
Okay. I'm winning this right now. I am winning this right now. I can't
Okay.
believe nobody has picked mashed potatoes.
No, that was
Mashed
gonna be my
potatoes
next.
and gravy.
Yeah.
It's on my list.
But
Yeah,
it's
it's on
not
my list
on your
too.
list. It's on my list, right?
Oh
So-
man.
That's my second
And
side.
And you need a second dessert, Skye,
Yeah.
for your last pick.
Okay, I this might be a rule issue. I want to say apple crisp and ice cream.
No. Mike,
what?
Get him, Mike.
It's
feel
not
like-
apple pie. It's not a pie. There's no pie crust.
Apple crisp is different than apple pie.
I'm
gonna let it go. I'm gonna let it go.
Oh.
Thank you very
I'm gonna
much.
send my
Well,
complaints
can I-
to the office.
As the host of the podcast, can I overrule? I feel like apple crisp.
Overrule him, Esau.
Are we-
Overrule him.
No.
Okay, then this at least then. Kaitlyn, do you want ice cream with your apple pie?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, then you get ice cream too. So it's a fair. Now people don't have to pick between crisp and pie.
Crisp and pie.
And I think pie wins every single time.
Pie wins.
Yeah.
Pie totally.
Okay,
Oh man.
you got to judge the whole set though. I have
Yes.
stuffing, pumpkin pie, London broil, mashed potatoes, apple crisp, and ice cream.
Oh man.
People are coming to my house. That's all
All
I'm
right,
saying.
Kaitlyn, we need one more side from you. One
No
more
side. Yeah. I'm bummed because I was really holding out on mashed potatoes being my last one. I think instead I will say green bean casserole.
Oh, I just got to do
on
it again.
top?
No.
What's on top?
Oh, the French onion crispy that
Right, yeah,
stuff.
yeah.
Oh,
Okay.
yeah. That's the best.
Okay. So
All right, Esau.
now, is it sweet potato or pumpkin pie that has currently been taken?
Pumpkin pie.
Only
Spencer.
Pumpkin pie.
Yeah.
I feel like as a draft analyst, the pumpkin sweet potato thing is a little controversial. So I don't want to divide my
Yeah.
followers here.
Yeah.
To send them over to your side. So I am torn because I really had apple pie, and I have on my list cinnamon rolls. But I feel like cinnamon rolls are going to lead me to a big L. I feel like that's a mistake. So I'm going to revert back. Oh, I'm down to two. I got to figure them out. These are the ones that we ate when I was a kid. Was my auntie's red velvet cake or my auntie's lemon meringue pie. So I gotta decide. She may not listen to this podcast. So I'm going to go with red velvet cake.
It's the same aunt, though, right?
Whoa.
Or two different
aunts.
women.
And
Okay.
I just picked one because the lemon meringue pie, I didn't like the meringue, so I'll just scrape off the meringue and just eat the lemon pie. But if you get red velvet cake and it's not dry, it's heaven. And so I think German chocolate cake and red velvet cake is strong. The apple pie, which I should have picked because nobody was thinking of German chocolate cake, I would recognize as a mistake. So who won, Mike? Is that
All
everybody?
right, that's everyone. So let me recap for us. So Skye, I'm going to go not in draft order, but meat, 2 sides, 2 desserts.
Okay.
Right. So Skye had London broil for his meat. He had mashed potatoes and cornbread stuffing for his sides, and pumpkin pie and apple crisp for his desserts. Kaitlyn had turkey for her meat, sweet potato casserole and green bean casserole for her sides, and pecan pie and apple pie for her desserts. And Esau went with brisket, mac and cheese, candied yams, German chocolate cake, and red velvet cake. These are all good.
None of them are bad. Like any of those are acceptable.
Yeah. I think the desserts will hurt Esau.
I agree.
I think you're wrong.
It was a mistake to reach. Esau, you reached for German chocolate cake. It would have been there in the last round. It would have been there.
Yeah. So I would say these are the ones
that
this was the one that I did not make it. The things that I had on my list: broccoli and cheese casserole, which is also McCaulley family favorite. I also had the rolls, those rolls, those dinner rolls. Those are always good. Mm-hmm. Deviled eggs, which nobody drafted, I had on my list, and sweet cornbread. Not just regular cornbread, like the slightly sweet cornbread.
Yeah.
Yes, I'm totally with you on that.
Like with a spoon.
And I had potato au gratin. Is that au gratin?
Yes.
Gratin?
Ooh.
So these are things that
cheesy potato casserole, as people
cheesy
say.
potatoes, yes. So I had a list. This is the most research that I've done for our podcast, and here's the podcast. And I had German chocolate cake and apple pie, and I knew they were going to be there, so I just had a third one, which was cinnamon rolls. It's just ridiculous. But
I think the true winner will be all of us on Thursday.
Yes. So we do want to say, because we're going to continue on with some Q&A later on in the podcast, but I want to say, whatever you all eat, I hope that you're with people who love you and that you have a happy Thanksgiving. And this is my first Thanksgiving with the Holy Post. Happy Thanksgiving to you all, and you all are great people to work with. And I will say, genuinely, it has been something for which I'm thankful for, is to be able to spend time with you all. And the same thing to Phil, even though he didn't come to my draft.
We're grateful to have you, Esau.
Yeah.
All right. Have a happy Thanksgiving, everybody. So after emerging with probably the best Thanksgiving food draft in the history of time, where I emerged victorious over all my enemies again, I think we maybe should do a little bit of a Q&A and answer some of the listeners' questions to kind of see what they're thinking about and see what I'm going to have to say with it. See what I'm going to have to say about what they're thinking about. How about that?
I like that, Esau. You know, we're like 10 episodes in, and so it's time for people to get to know you a little bit.
And this is Mike, this is your chance, right? You have been in the background, and nobody else at the Holy Post appreciates you. No one saw in you what I see in you.
That is accurate.
I see some potential. So, Mike, what you don't want to do is you want to be charming, you want to be witty. You don't want to just deliver the questions. You want to. This is your moment, right?
Okay.
You know, we're the least popular podcast on the Holy Post, but that's okay. Like, you got to start somewhere. If you work here, you might get up to hanging out with Kaitlyn, and then maybe you'll get on the flagship.
Oh,
so, like,
Esau, you're making me nervous now. I'm gonna screw this up.
You got this.
Okay.
I believe in you.
All right. Here we go. We're gonna start with a nice, easy question for you right off the bat. Okay. This is from Jeff, and he wants to know: have you ever felt truly loved by someone that clearly has different theological positions than you? And if so, unpack to me how that feels.
Yeah. So I spend a lot of my time with people who have different theological opinions than I do. So I grew up in the Black Baptist Church, and now I'm actually Anglican. So I grew up in a context where they didn't baptize babies. Now we do baptize babies, where we kind of, in our tradition, Eucharist isn't a big deal. And that I grew up in, and now I'm in a tradition where it's very important. And so I'm in a different denomination than my entire family. And so that's been like, but my family still loves me because I think that despite our theological differences, there's a common faith. I think that for whatever reason, when we think about theological differences, we tend to narrow that down to, like, I don't know, complementarian, egalitarian, but like there are tons of theological differences. So some of my best friends from college became Catholic.
Okay.
And so I think that for me, and probably one of my good friends from undergrad, from seminary, he's complementarian, and his wife, him and his wife are complementarian. Me and my wife are egalitarian, and we're really good friends as couples. And so,
but Esau, how do you love people that get so much of the Bible wrong?
I just pray for him.
Okay.
So, no, I do think there is. I think that theology matters, and that we're in different traditions because me and this person, we disagree on some important theological issues. He's Reformed, I'm not. But there is, and so I don't want to downplay doctrine. So please hear me say the doctrines matter. But I do think there's a thing that we call mere Christianity, like these essential things to unite us despite our differences in theology. And part of it is there's a kind of I'm sorry, I put it this way. I have people who I know who are serious about following Jesus. And if you're serious about following Jesus and you're trying to read the scriptures as best as you can, but you come to a different conclusion on those scriptures, then that's just something I can just agree to disagree with. Now, so for me, theological agreement has never been the prerequisite for friendship. I have friends who are not Christians, right? At all. And so, that's just part of what it means to be a human. One of the things that you have to be very, very comfortable with to live in the world is to realize that significant numbers of people aren't going to agree with you. And to be able to be confident in being willing to be wrong and being willing to change, but being at peace about what you believe and why. And so I have not found theological difference to be something overwhelmingly difficult. And some of it I might say is disposition. I have struggled with people, friendships with people who are cruel and combative are harder for me to deal with than theological differences. So I might have an Anglican who I agree with theologically, who I'm not friends with. And I might have a Catholic who has a love of God and love of neighbor, who I'm really good friends with. And so that's just how I've always lived my life.
Yeah. But wait, how do you let these disagreements not get combative? Because I think that would be the issue. Most people, they elevate these disagreements to the point where it becomes combative.
I just learned how to live in charity. So we don't, maybe because I have a sense of humor. And so with my Reformed brothers and sisters, I said, I just tell sovereignty of God jokes with them. Mm-hmm. Or I will ask, and so we have real conversations, right? So the other thing is probably with all of those friends who I'm kind of close with now, at some point we had a real authentic conversation about our agreements and disagreements. And they were able to lay out their case, and I was able to lay out my case. And because they knew, we both knew we were trying to help each other follow God better. Those conversations weren't combative. They were moments of shared discernment. And so for my Catholic friends, they know why I'm not Catholic. And my complementarian friends know why I'm not complementarian. And they know what I believe, and they hear it, they'll repeat it. And so, and they'll tell me why they hold their opinions. And so we just have real conversations. Yeah. And I think you have to have confidence to believe that your friendship is strong enough to survive those kinds of disagreements.
I think this actually goes well with the first question. What is something you thought you knew, but it turns out you were completely wrong about? And if Esau, if you need help, I have 5 that I think.
Wait, are these theological things or just general?
It could be anything. So it could be your terrible take on LeBron James.
As a kid, here it goes. I don't want the internet to come for me. But as a kid, I thought Michael Jordan was the best. Then I was wrong.
No,
and then I thought, here's a better one. Here's a better one that'll be non-controversial. So I always thought that soccer was boring.
It is.
Well, be quiet now. Let the adults talk. So I'm going to put you in. In my family, that's a McCaulleyism. So in Thanksgiving, in a Black household, there's the grown folks table, and then there's the kids table.
So I'm at the kids table, Esau.
So listen, you get promoted to the grown-ups table. There's no year, right? There's no you turn 15. At some point, you sit down at the grown folks table, and no one tells you to move. And if you're at the grown folks table and you're not sure you're supposed to be there, you just sit quietly. Because if you jump in with a take and the take is wrong, your spot at the grown folks table is taken away. So you just jumped in with your soccer take, and you almost got sent back to the producer table. I'm having you here to just like, let me cook for a moment. And then so I'll say this, though. I was just like you. And I thought soccer was boring, and I had never really been into it. And it wasn't until I went to the United Kingdom and I went to a game and I saw it live that I began to appreciate the subtleties and how a game that could be 1-0 and be super exciting. And so after watching, and this sounds very simplistic, but in soccer, they basically move the whole game. But after you've watched a lot of soccer and then you watch football, and I still love American football, where they run one play, wait 30 seconds, and run another play, wait 30 seconds, it is a slower game. And so the athleticism, the passing, the drama of Premier League football is something that I had dismissed as an American who liked an American football like you're doing, until I sat down to really, and I don't fully understand the game, but to watch the game enough to appreciate it. And I always liked it when I saw the women's team play in the World Cup, and also to watch our men's team lose in the World Cup.
Right.
And so, no shade to the men's soccer. But it was when I was in the UK and I really got to sit down, and I was wrong. I was wrong about Premier League soccer.
I think it was one of our videos recently. You wore your Premier team.
Oh, I'm wearing
jersey.
it right now.
Oh, look at that, London Spurs.
Yeah.
And I saw in the comments you got a lot of flack. It doesn't seem like it's a popular choice. Why? How did you pick your team, and why do you think some people don't like that team?
Well, they're called the Tottenham Hotspurs, but it's just in London. So, that's okay.
I'm sorry.
That's like calling it the Texas...
the Texas Cowboys.
The Texas Cowboys.
In my defense, your shirt literally says London Spurs.
I know, because it's in London, but it's called...
I don't think the Cowboys sell T-shirts that say...
You know what you sound like? You sound like those people who say stuff like the Dallas Football Boys or something. Like, just trust me. Okay. I'm helping you for our soccer people. I'm helping you. You sound crazy. So what happened was my son was super into... Well, there's a couple of things. I was on sabbatical, and the few years leading up to sabbatical were really stressful. I had done a lot of traveling, a lot of speaking, a lot of writing. I just needed a break. And so we were in the UK, and my son really wanted to go to a Premier League football game. And it's really hard to get tickets, and all of the games were sold out. And there was one team that he used to be a fan of that I won't say here because I don't want to activate that fan base, but all of the tickets were sold out. And he went to bed and he was really sad because I can't go to a game. And the Tottenham games are also, I just started going from the team that he initially wanted to see to anybody in London who had tickets. And everybody was sold out for that weekend. But then sometimes people will put up 2 tickets for sale. And so there were 2 tickets for sale for the Tottenham Hotspurs. And so we went there, and first of all, when I told my son that, he's 8 years old, he's 10 years old now, he immediately switched allegiances. He went from that team to everything Tottenham. He went and Googled it. He found his favorite player. He was just all in. And so he wanted a shirt when we got there. And I'm like, I'm having this experience with my kid. And so first of all, watching a young 10-year-old enjoy something is the best thing in life. To watch a kid have their eyes all excited. And then we went to the game. We were down, and they gave him a little sticker that said first time fan. And one of the star players is a guy named Son from Greece, on the Korean national team. So I will not give you too much soccer stuff. And so a significant portion of the crowd was Korean. And they were super polite. They were amazing to my son. They welcomed him in. And there was a bunch of Koreans. There was a bunch of Brits. And there was this American. They high-fiving him. And we're down 2-0. And then they came back to win 3-2 at the end of the game. And they told my son, "You're now the lucky charm.
Yeah,
you got to come to every game." And so, because we were on the train, we took the train from Oxford to London, and there were fans who were there on the train there, and fans on the train back. And he had this little sticker, and they were nice to him. And after that, it was a lot. It was a wrap. He was just all in. Yeah. And for me, it was it's very rare in life that you get to have something new that is exciting, that is kind of untainted by earlier memories. And so for me, Premier League soccer was just something, it came to kind of symbolize not the sports itself, but the opportunity to learn something and do something new. Like, was the idea that even at a later stage, I'm not 80, but I'm 45, but even at this point in my life, God could have new and different things for me. And so it sounds weird to say that, but like Premier League soccer is a way of me. It was a new season and a new sport at the same time. So that's why I like it.
Okay. That's a good answer. Okay. Esau, you're a New Testament scholar, right?
Yes.
Okay. Amy has a question for you.
Okay.
How are we supposed to navigate some of the hard things that Jesus says, like, I don't come to bring peace, but a sword, and I come to divide families?
I've had this question a lot. Like, how do you deal with like balancing like these hard texts with these kind of warm and fuzzy Jesus texts? The first thing is to understand there's different passages in the New Testament. And so there's a passage where it says that, a reed that is bruised, they're like this little, you can imagine like a flower, a piece of grass that's half broken, Jesus won't completely destroy it. So for the fragile people in society, Jesus doesn't come and like pick yourself up. He's like very gentle with the like people who are most vulnerable. But the truth is, it is also the case that truth creates its own enemies.
Yeah.
So when Jesus says something like, I didn't come to bring peace but a sword, part of it is, if you come and you are about justice, there are going to be people who oppose that justice. And so the very presence of Jesus's justice and righteousness forces humanity to make a decision. And the people who see the beauty of it, they are compelled by it. But there are people who not only say, I'm indifferent to this, but I'm hostile to it. And so there is no way of telling the truth that doesn't cause like some conflict. So when Jesus says, I didn't come to bring peace, it's what I think he's trying to get at is the truth that he brings isn't without consequences. And I think that all of us who follow Jesus understand that when you follow Jesus, you're going against the grain of culture. And that going against the grain of culture is going to lead to some conflict. There'll be some people who just kind of say, oh, that's what you're into, and so I don't really care. There are other people who are going to not just simply disagree, but oppose it. And that opposition is sometimes within your family. Like, we just had a question of like, how do I live with people who I disagree with theologically? And I think the person had this idea within like a Christian community. What about like and I know people like where they are the people who they're the only Christian in their family. And that loyalty to Christ creates conflict. And so I don't think that we should imagine Jesus as saying he delights in causing conflict. But I think we should understand Jesus is saying the truth is never without consequences.
Yeah.
And that the truth creates its own opposition. Right.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh.
And so I also think that we sometimes as Christians have a low doctrine of human sinfulness, which is kind of weird because we look out in the world and we see all the evil and all the greed and all the corruption, and we don't really deal with the fact that, well, God opposes those things, right? God sees like the people whose greed leads them to exploit the most vulnerable. And so God comes and speaks the truth about greed. So like, this is greed. It's a good example, right? That greed, that money can be an idol, right? Well, what happens when you touch that idol? Now, interestingly enough, because I love the Holy Post, they pulled a clip out where I said this, that money is America's God. Now, the way the clips are supposed to work is the clips are an invitation to listen to the entire episode and understand the context of what I was saying. What I was trying to get at is not that the economy isn't important. It's not that the economy isn't important, that people aren't making decisions because they're worried about how to feed their family. It is saying that the economy will trump other issues that are clear to Christians, right? So that but when I said that, I got more hate about that comment than anything else I've ever said. Because how dare you start talking about my money?
Yeah.
And
which
I will
kind of
stand
proves
on
your point.
Yeah, With literally proof of my point.
Yeah.
Because they say there can be no context where that was true, right? There's no way that he knows nothing about, inflation and this is why I wasn't even advocating for a candidate. But once you touch it, right? So if God has something to say about what we do with our money, right? And there are people whose lives are defined by the acquisition of money. Those two values you cannot agree to disagree about greed. Either you're someone who thinks that money is an idol, right? And that it's an idol that is dangerous to the Christian. And then we have to steward it and use it well and be charitable and take care of our family. We can also understand how we can become our lives dominated by those things. That's a conflict. And Jesus isn't afraid of the smoke, as we might say. He will come and say to you, right? To the rich young ruler, right? Sell all that you have and give it to the poor. That's a conflict. And so I think that we cannot Jesus's love doesn't change the demands of the gospel. It is actually Jesus's love that compels the demands of the gospel. It is because he knows that our lives, if they're defined by money, aren't going to be the source of true joy. And because he loves, you have to love people enough to tell them a hard truth that can create conflict in their own lives and with their neighbors. If you are doing something, and this isn't the person, if you're doing something that is damaging to you, and I see you doing something damaging, and I try to come and help you, the people who are with you doing that damaging behavior aren't going to want to let you go.
Yeah.
There's going to be a conflict between me and them. Because they're going to want to keep you going down this road. And I'm going to say, come this way. So there is love compels people into conflict. And so I don't think that those things are necessarily in complete tension. And I'll be briefer with the next question because we got to do some Thanksgiving takes.
No, that was so good, Esau. I don't know. Has anyone ever told you should consider preaching? Maybe start your own church sometime? I think it could
All
be.
Saints Naperville. We have our next service for the 15 people in the Naperville area who listen to the podcast. I think our next service is on December 15th, and then there's another on Christmas Eve.
It is time to now enter into the Thanksgiving portion of our podcast.
Okay.
So this comes out on Thanksgiving Day, and so we've got some great questions here.
Okay.
My hope is that people are listening to this at the dinner table, and that we're about to cause some fights. So from Stephanie, if you could, this is your Mount Rushmore. You do this to other people. Stephanie's doing it to you.
Yeah.
If you could invite 4 people, dead or alive, to share your family Thanksgiving dinner, who would they be?
So we have to I'm going to have to give me some kind of we're going to have to say no biblical characters or something like that.
Yeah, let's say
no biblical characters.
Yes.
Can we do that?
I agree with that.
Okay. So I'm going to have Denzel Washington.
Okay.
Me and Denzel are going to have to hang out. This is just random.
Yep.
So it's the funny, it's not who I think is just most famous, who I'd actually enjoy talking to.
Right.
So I want Denzel Washington. I want Martin Luther King. I want a writer. This is gonna be a random one. You know what? This is gonna be the pull-up edition. No, this is probably, no one has had this combination. I want Tolstoy or Dostoevsky. You can choose your Russian. And then I want either Flannery O'Connor or Tolstoy. That's the weirdest meal in the history of time. But you have some writers. I got to kick. It feels funny. Now, I got to kick out the writers. We'll do that. We'll do that. We have 2 writers, and we put the writers in one room, and then me, Denzel, and King will have our conversation in the other room.
That's the worst. You're gonna invite people over to your Thanksgiving meal, and then say all right, you two. No.
They can be together, right? Sorry, our house, you got to be in our house. It's not big enough to have my whole, we can't fit them all in the room. So when you have a Thanksgiving, some people are watching the football game, some people are eating, and there's multiple conversations going on. So what I'm saying is, I'm not going to segregate them. I'm saying they'll be part of the conversation when I'm kicking it with King and Denzel. The other part of the conversation, I'm kicking it with the Russians. I'm going to have 6. I'm going to have 6. I'm breaking your rules. So it's going to be Flannery and Tolkien are going to be one group. Tolstoy and Dostoevsky are going to be one group, and then Denzel, and King. That's my crew.
You can't break the rules, Esau. The rules
Literally
are
my
sacred.
podcast.
But Mount Rushmore does not have 6 presidents on it. It has 4. The mountain's not big enough to add 2 more, Esau.
It's a Thanksgiving in my house though, so I have a little bit more room.
All right, fine. You can have it. It's the weirdest.
That was the worst. That was the worst gathering of people. That's 6 amazing people who are not going to kick it at all. But that's okay.
I feel like you're going to pull a Michael Ware and you're going to text me later today and be like, we need to redo that.
We need to redo that. At this point of the podcast, Esau falls apart.
All right, we'll save you. We'll go on to the next one. You may have seen, if you follow Holy Post on social media or on socials like Instagram, and if you don't, you should.
Yeah.
That recently we took the team out, Esau, Phil, Skye, and Kaitlyn, and had them all try a pumpkin spice latte. Because Esau, you, up to that moment, had never had a pumpkin spice latte before.
Not in my life.
Correct.
Not in my life.
And we had you rate it on a scale of 1 to 10 before you tried it. And
Yes.
what we had you rate, how much do you think you'll like this? And you said,
Yes. I think it was like a 2. I was low. I don't remember.
I think you said 0.
Oh, 0.
Yeah.
Okay. I was a hater.
And then you tried it, and I think you ranked it like a 7 or so.
Yeah.
Okay. So Andrea wants to know, since then, have you had another one?
Another one? I think I've had like 5. What are you talking about? I literally had one. What day was it? 2 days ago.
Wow. I don't even.
So, yeah.
Do they still? I feel like they've switched to the Christmas drinks.
Maybe you don't understand. It wasn't on the menu. And I said to the beloved barista, do y'all still make those pumpkin spice lattes? Let me have one of those. Not only that, because I'm so down bad now. Because I'm usually a black coffee drinker. I actually got a peppermint, like something. I'm just out in these streets, just trying latte. I think it's like peppermint mocha or something. It was something like Christmas.
It's a common Christmas one.
Yeah, I got that. I hit that one up yesterday. In case people are wondering, pumpkin spice beats peppermint.
Okay, but did you like the peppermint mocha?
Not enough to repeat. I think I hit that one twice.
Okay.
I should probably stop because I'm on a bender.
It does seem like it. And I will let the people know. It was really funny. In the weeks, Esau's not joking. We have a Slack channel that we're all on. And I feel like over the last 2 months, we've gotten like 5 or 6 Slacks from you of a picture of a pumpkin spice latte.
I don't want to listen. My wife listens to this podcast and she's going to know that I have spent about $40 in pumpkin spice lattes over the last couple of weeks.
Yeah, now she knows why the credit card bill was so high last month. All right, let's go to the Thanksgiving dinner table. We have so many questions on Thanksgiving food. People want to know what's better, sweet potato pie or pumpkin pie. They want to know pumpkin. Okay, I agree with you on that.
Okay,
yeah, we'll do these quick. All right, people want to know, for your sweet potato casserole, do you do brown sugar and pecan topping on top or marshmallows?
I'm a Christian, so I do the pecans and brown sugar.
Esau, we just talked about not, getting along with people we disagree with.
There's things you disagree with, and we can agree to disagree. If you come to my house with marshmallows on your casserole, I'm kicking you out of my house.
Wow,
that's it. And the funny thing about it, my son has a nut allergy. So sometimes we'll just do the brown sugar. Well, I'll get my own special one with the pecans on it, like a little side deal.
Yeah.
But the best version is the one with the pecans and that's not even a question.
Esau,
go ahead?
Can I admit something to you on this podcast?
Oh, I know. Go ahead.
I've never had sweet potato casserole or pie or any of these.
I mean, we try to avoid like contentious issues, but there are opinions about the cooking stylings of certain cultures versus the cooking stylings of my culture. And I'm going to say that there might be a reason for that.
I'm glad you said that. So Amy wants to know, I recently moved from the South to the North, and something I miss is good food. Even Thanksgiving food is all wrong. I'm wondering if you experience that from being from the South, and now living up North.
Well, yes. I mean, yes, it's the short answer to the question. Y'all, like, barbecue and grilling here is just like, that's a struggle. We do that better in the South. And it's just to fix it. It's like, you know what your problem is? Y'all spend too much money on like upkeep and not enough money on like the food itself. So if you go to the South, the worse the restaurant looks, the better the food. Because they spend all of their money on like, just like, I don't know what they're spending it on, but there's something about that. Maybe because they use the same grease for like a decade. The flavor just stays in there. And so there, you know, we used to go to, there was this one barbecue place that in my neighborhood, they literally didn't even have any hours, right? It just was open sometimes, and the other times it wasn't open. And we didn't have this pre-cell phone. So it was like back in the day, you had pagers. You get like the group page, like it's open, go over there. And it would just move, no announcement. It's like now it's down the street. It's like, oh, Nolan's barbecue is down the street. And so you had to hunt for that good barbecue. And the barbecue, what I want to explain to you is, it was not in a wrapping. Just like Nolan's barbecue or anything like that. It was in aluminum foil. So they just made the barbecue, put aluminum foil, scrunched it together, and handed it to you. That barbecue sandwich changed your life if you had it.
I believe
it would change your life.
I believe you.
If you live in the Midwest, you just can't. I think you can get some of that in Chicago.
Yeah. Chicago has good barbecue.
Yeah, Chicago has good food. Places. But if you're out here in the western suburbs, you're just down bad. So depending on where they are in the look, Mike's in his feelings. It's true.
No,
it's true. Get out of your feelings. Get out of your feelings.
I mostly agree with you. I mean, my biggest
I'm mostly
thing,
right.
Because you're mostly right. I don't think my mom listens to this podcast. My mom is incredible. She's makes really good food and falls into the trap that anything spicier than pepper she can't handle. It's too spicy for her.
See, that's what I'm saying. Like,
yeah. There's some truth to that.
I'm not. There's a rule in the South that you don't talk about other folks' mamas.
But I'll tell you what, she makes the best pumpkin pie. It's so good. It's so good.
Hard to disagree.
We're gonna fight, Esau. We're gonna fight. Okay.
See, I'm sorry. Your mom's a great cook, even though she only uses salt and pepper. She's a great cook. You just walked into like the biggest cultural stereotype about spices.
No, totally. It's so funny. Like we've been over at other relatives, and like I see the turkey come out for Thanksgiving. I'm just like, did you put anything on that? Like any salt or pepper? Or like, nope, you took it out of the bag and you just throw it in the oven. It's like, turkey's good unless
is it though? Is it?
If you know how to cook it. Turkey is good if you know how to cook it. Most people don't know how to cook it. All right. Yeah. Do you have a hot take on Thanksgiving food? Like, are you a turkey family? Do you switch it up?
My hottest take, and even though I'm smoking turkey, because my wife wants me to, is that turkey is not good.
Even if you smoke it?
No, okay. Here's the thing. This is this is a hot take.
Yep.
Anything that you have to teach me how to cook, it ain't good. So no one said So most things have a baseline of good, right? And then you can cook it well or you cook it poorly, right? So a hamburger has a baseline. It's a decent burger. You can burn it and ruin it, or you can have a really good burger. Fried chicken, baseline fried chicken, really good. You do it well, it's amazing, or you can have it bad. The baseline of turkey is bad, and you have to have like quality to get it up to being good. And so if it was not for Thanksgiving or Christmas, turkey would never be used. Everything else you would have used anytime, even something like a brisket, right? People make brisket anytime. Now they say, I don't make brisket all of the time because of the effort. But nobody says, oh man, come to my house, I'm having brisket. Oh, like I'm in. But no one just say, oh, come to my house outside of Thanksgiving, I'm having turkey. So if turkey is so good, why don't you cook it the rest of the year? Name me another meat that is good that you only cook once a year. Ribs take a long time and they're hard to prepare, but people make them because if you make them, they're good. Brisket, hard to prepare, but people make it because it's good. Prime rib. And so turkey is associated with the holiday. For that reason, we've learned how to make it delicious, but the baseline of turkey is not good. And if someone would just like admit it, and we should all just go to brisket for Thanksgiving. That's my take.
I mean, I do love barbecue, so I don't disagree with you. And so Esau, you're going to say it's not good, but my COVID hobby was to learn how to smoke, to barbecue.
Yes, me too.
So like, I think I make a pretty decent brisket and ribs. It's taken a lot of practice. So like, if we are hosting a holiday, Christmas, Thanksgiving, we're not doing ham or turkey. I might smoke the turkey because I do think, I mean, you smoke the turkey and then you dip it in as much butter as you can find. And it's actually pretty good. Yeah. But you're right. The lows of turkey are very, very, very low.
That's what I'm saying. So I'm not anti-turkey. I am anti-turkey. Yeah. And I feel like Big Turkey, the propaganda machine, is going to let go of Thanksgiving out of its cold, dead hands, is what I think.
I tell you what, though, turkey is like a fraction of the price as brisket these days.
Yes,
so it's got that going for it.
That's why I'm smoking turkey, because we're going to do brisket for Christmas.
There you go.
And we're going to do turkey for Thanksgiving.
All right. Those were your Thanksgiving food takes. Listeners, let us know. Let us know on Twitter, on Instagram, Facebook, on YouTube. What did Esau get right? Why is he wrong about his Thanksgiving?
You're supposed to ask me what I'm thankful for. I can say that part. I'm going to do my thankful thing.
I'm not done yet. I was segueing to that last question.
I didn't know where you were segueing. I didn't know how you were segueing. I apologize. This is our first time working together.
I know. We're learning our chemistry. It's okay. We'll get there, Esau.
We'll get there.
Okay.
By the way, I think you've done a good job. I think, first of all, ask for a raise.
Oh,
Second of all, I think it's time for the Producer Mike show, but you keep going.
Oh, well, let's not go that far. But I'm glad. So right now I still have my seat at the adults table, the grown-ups table.
Yes, you're back.
Whew. All right. Well, then we better end before I ruin it. All right. Esau, last question. It's a classic and a cliche, but it's good nonetheless. This year, what are you thankful for?
Yeah, I think that sometimes when we talk about gratitude, and maybe, I don't know if this is how the original Thanksgiving was, that it was like somehow tied to gratitude for like our nation or whatever. And some people live in places where that gratitude is hard to come by. You know, let's say you live in some oppressive country, you kind of go, there's not a lot to be grateful for. Or you look at what's happening in the United States, you kind of say, I'm not grateful for like these things. And some people will say, well, you know, you should look at the good in that country, and that's important. That's fine. There are good things that are happening in America. But for me, there's a couple of things that I do. First of all, I'm expressing gratitude to God, not gratitude to a nation, which is kind of an indescript thing, right? But I express gratitude for God. And if there's nothing else going on in my life, if my life is hard, which sometimes it is during the holidays, it is a narrative of redemption that I can actually be grateful for. That I can say, I am grateful for the cross. I am grateful for the resurrection. I'm grateful for God's grace. And sometimes as a Christian, you have to actually preach the gospel to yourself. And that you have to recount what God has done. The other thing that we can do is that sometimes our present moments kind of puts us in the context where we lose sight of what God has done for us in the past. Not just in redemption, but in our lives. And so we also sometimes have to remember that I remember when I was in this place and God helped me. And I'm grateful for that help. And just recounting what God has done in the past will give you some confidence for what God might do in the future. So if you're struggling in a place where like your present circumstances aren't very good, I would say tell yourself the story of the gospel and say that me putting my hope in this story is not a fool's errand. And then remember actually the times where God has helped you in the past, and hopefully that'll give you an encouragement during what can be a complicated season.
I love it. That is a good note to end on. Esau, thank you for answering these questions. And I'm grateful for you, even though I didn't make it into your Thanksgiving table, your top four. Little hurt by that. You made mine, but you didn't even ask me what mine were.
Well, I thought that you would be in the back recording the conversation between us. So
I totally would be.
You know what?
There we go. I would be. And it would go on Holy Post Plus, and then I would say, go sign up for Holy Post Plus and listen to Esau's conversation with Denzel. But yeah, we are thankful to all of our listeners. You guys are great, and I hope you all have a great Thanksgiving.
Have a great Thanksgiving. The Esau McCaulley Podcast is a production of Holy Post Media, produced by Mike Stay Low, Stray Low. If you know, now you know. Edited by Seth Gorvette, like a Corvette. Music by Rob Knorr. Make sure to follow the show wherever you get your podcast and leave a review so more people can find it. See you next time. I'm out.
I'm penning these letters with prayers they can aid your endeavors. It's clever benevolence, tasted it, wrestle with, still wrestling. Touch my side and it crushed my pride and told me I'm blessed within. Receive a Christian platitude with gratitude, but in the saddest news I live in doesn't add up to the Beatitudes. Catch me in the catacombs, chiefing like they Pat Mahomes, catching bullets, tackle foes, running plays, defending zones. Field got him doing football numbers, only half is grown. He was acting grown.